Hey everybody, Dr. G here. I'm a clinical and forensic psychologist as well as a body language expert, and today we're going to be analyzing the behavior and body language of Elon Musk during his post-inauguration speech. Before we get started, a couple of quick things. One, I wanted to make sure you know this is not a psychological evaluation of any kind. These are just my opinions. In addition to that, I wanted you to know that I have a course on body language. It's in the description below. Last thing before we get started is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, let's go. So what we're going to be looking at today is Elon Musk's infamous salute. There's been a lot of talk about this, so we're going to watch it. We're going to give it full context, and then I'm going to give you my impressions body language-wise as well as psychologically what's going on here. All right, let's just jump right in. Now, the first thing I want you to pay attention to right now is as he's celebrating and putting his hands in the air, he keeps his fingers together. It's kind of awkward. It's unusual. So with body language, we tend to react automatically. This is just naturally how he does this. Clearly, he's celebrating. Clearly, he's keeping his body very open. He wants everybody to see how much he's celebrating. But this does feel a little bit unusual. Most of us don't keep our fingers together like that when we're celebrating or when we're putting our hands in the air. So you look at how open his body is right here. Taking up as much space as possible. He wants everybody to see what a huge accomplishment this is. He wants everybody to see how important all of this is. So he is taking up as much space as we can. I oftentimes talk about with body language when we put our hands on our hips when we're talking, doing something like that. We're trying to show our importance. We're trying to take up space. Right here, he is trying to make sure that his feelings, his exuberance about the celebration is seen throughout his body. He's really trying to show that off right now. Body language is oftentimes a representation of how we feel. Typically, what I cover is the more subtleties about body language, but his is so big. He really wants people to know exactly how he feels. That's why we do this, is we're trying to impart this information non-verbally. I want everybody to know how charged up I am. That being said, and I'm not making fun of Elon Musk, sometimes it comes across as a little bit awkward. The way he moves can feel a little bit awkward, and that's important as we get to the salute. That's why I'm telling you about this now, because some of his body movements can be overly rigid. At least that's how I interpret his body right here.
Yes! This is what victory feels like. Yeah! And this was no ordinary victory. This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay.
And you see him pointing like this. He really means what he says. He wants you to understand. He believes this deeply. And he's trying to create something that people really feel. So as you see him talking with his hands, as you see him pointing with his fingers, which can be an aggressive way to speak, he really is trying to make sure that everybody knows exactly how he feels about this.
This was a fork in the road of human civilization. Okay. This you know, there are elections that come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not, but this one.
Now, if you look at his hands right here, he's doing something we call steepling. Now, we do this oftentimes when we want to be seen as an expert, when we're trying to impart information, when we're trying to say, you need to listen to what I'm saying because I know what I'm talking about. Listen to the context of this and then see when he does the steepling.
Come and go. Some elections are, important, some are not, but this one this one really mattered.
So he really wants you to understand, I know what I'm talking about. I have my reasons for believing this, and this election really mattered. So you're seeing the steepling around this because to him, this is a point that maybe not everyone believes or agrees on, but he wants you to believe him. He's saying, you need to understand how important this was.
This one this one really mattered.
And there was the eyebrows. Watch this right here.
This one this one really.
So this one really mattered. Whether you agree with him or not, he 100% believes that this really did matter, and he wants you to know that.
It mattered. And I just want to say thank you for making it happen. Thank you.
So here is obviously the infamous salute. Let's try to break this down and see if we can make sense of this. See if it seems that he's doing something as a sign to Nazis or neo-Nazis, or if it's an awkward hand sign. Let's check this out one more time. We'll actually be watching it a few times.
It happened. Thank you.
So you see, first he puts his hand on his heart. You see him biting his lip. The biting of the lip shows once again that he is feeling this deeply. Whatever it is that he's feeling right now, it's almost explosive for him. So he's biting his lip because he feels it so strongly. He's putting his hand on his heart, which in context, as he says later, his heart goes out to everybody. And now his body is in the position of what people are saying looks like a Nazi salute, but I'm not so sure. From a body language standpoint, the idea that he's reaching out, the idea that he's trying to basically send out his feelings to everybody else is a possible explanation. Now, I do get, superficially, it does have the appearance of what people refer to as a Nazi salute. Some people are calling it a Roman salute, whatever. It doesn't really matter. I think most people have that association. As we watch that,
thank you.
Obviously, it was done aggressively. It was done in a way that was a bit awkward. Now, the question is whether or not it was not just a dog whistle, but whether or not it was a direct sign to Nazis. That I suppose the suggestion would be that whether he is one or believes and has Nazi beliefs or something to that degree. I'm going to tell you first, that seems unlikely for some psychological reasons that we're going to cover in a second. But body language-wise, this is actually fairly consistent with the way he's been behaving up to this point. He's been explosive. He's been larger than life. He's been a bit awkward. Let's watch this again.
My heart goes out to you. It is.
The way that he's doing this appears unconscious. The way that he's reaching back and touching his heart appears to be a natural part of body language. It wouldn't make much sense for him to do two salutes and then reach back to his heart. A lot of people seem to think that this is a traditional Nazi salute, when in all reality, if you go back and look at a lot of World War II footage, it's just putting your hand straight forward. It's not touching your chest and throwing your arm out, particularly not in this fashion.
For making it happen. Thank you.
Awkward, yes, but probably not, in fact, related to Nazis in any way. Let's talk about the psychology of why that is as well, because you need to understand the psychology of a billionaire to understand whether or not they would want to associate with Nazis. First of all, Nazis are not a powerful group. There are not a lot of them left. Neo-Nazis are not big voters. They're not out there buying electric cars. There would be no true benefit to him showing deference to Nazis. It doesn't really make sense psychologically. Now, if you think there's some other reason that he would be doing that, by all means, feel free to let me know in the comments. But as far as him actually wanting to express some sort of fondness for neo-Nazis, it just doesn't psychologically make any sense. Years ago, I was in a counterterrorism program run by current and former U.S. intelligence. And a big part of that, at least the domestic terrorism part, was talking about neo-Nazis. So this is a group that I'm very familiar with. And the idea that somehow he's showing interest in them, that he is showing them allegiance in some way, doesn't really make a lot of sense psychologically. So you'd have the richest man in the world showing fondness for a group that has no power, a group that is not popular, a group that is not liked by anybody. It doesn't really make much sense psychologically for him to do that, unless you just think that he's trolling people, unless you just think he's doing it to irritate people. And that's always possible. To me, this looks more like an awkward expression of body language rather than somebody who is trying to somehow connect with Nazis or let people know that he's interested in Nazis or has some sort of dog whistle for them.
My heart goes out to you. It is thanks to you that the future of civilization is assured.
So should Elon Musk be more careful with his body language? Yeah, he probably should. Was it a good idea to do that kind of wave? Obviously, that's what people are taking from this speech. That's what people are remembering from it. So I think it probably distracted from his overall message. But the idea that he is in fact trying to show some sort of allegiance or show some kind of expression of Nazism, I find extremely unlikely. And just to be very clear, if I believed that Elon Musk was actually doing a Nazi salute, I would be the first person to tell you. My wife's Korean, my kids are half Korean. I don't like the idea of neo-Nazis. And if I thought that he was associating with them or if I thought he was promoting them in some way, I can tell you 100% I would call him out on it And I would say that's what we're looking at. But I really don't believe that's the case in this situation. If you have any thoughts about this or there's other aspects of this you want me to look at, please let me know in the comments below. And I know this video may have been frustrating for some people because I know some people feel very strongly that that's exactly what he was trying to do. And I can appreciate and I understand if that's how you feel. And if there's things about that you want me to re-examine, feel free to let me know in the comments about that as well. Last thing before we get finished up is I do want to remind you to like and subscribe if you want to see more content just like this. All right, thanks for watching.